Hi everyone, Ben here from Market Source. I'm here with Bob Perkins, the founder of AA-ISP. He's here for the Unite conference here in Atlanta. And normally, if you follow Bob, you know he's the one that does most of the interviewing, whether it's Monday Morning Sales Minute or the Tuesday training. But we're going to flip the table around and actually ask Bob some questions about the new revolution of digital sales. So first of all, welcome Bob, and thank you for this time.
Ben, it's great to be here. Good to be back to Atlanta.
Yeah, good. And AA-ISP celebrated 10-year anniversary this year. We had that big announcement at the Leadership Conference in Chicago. So congratulations for 10 wonderful years of growing this community. So let's start there. I have a few questions for you, and let's start with 10 years ago. What prompted you to, kind of build this community?
Well, it started way before 10 years ago. 10 years ago is when we kind of put a stake in the ground and formed the association, but even before that, I go back to 1993. So that's 25 years ago. I started a job with Unisys in inside sales, and within about a year, I just fell in love with inside sales, part of which had to do with, back then we were definitely the redheaded stepchild. We were the underdogs.
Yeah.
Could you really sell stuff over the phone? What could you sell? Well, big complex stuff, nah, that had to be sold by a field rep. So I made it my personal mission to prove how powerful inside sales would be. And so for the next 15, 20 years, I worked at a couple companies to really improve inside sales. And I'll never forget one of our largest sales, $1.3 million to the federal government with Unisys, came by a 25-year-old sales rep who did it all over the phone.
Yeah.
This was way back when. So during that time of looking to improve, I searched for resources. I needed training. I needed someone to share best practices of what you could sell over the phone and how to become a skilled salesperson, primarily back then over the phone and soon email. And I couldn't find any. And I had to reach out to people in other companies that were managers and directors of inside sales so we could just have a cup of coffee together and discuss, what can we learn from each other to help improve inside sales. So way back when I started thinking we need a resource for inside sales because there wasn't any back then.
Yeah.
And even when we founded back in early 2009, we were the first real inside sales association resource to help our profession.
In the past 10 years, there's been a lot of changes in digital sales, virtual sales, inside sales, whatever you want to call it. What have you seen as the highlights that have evolved in the last 10 years?
Well, I'm going to sort of, instead of saying what, highlights of our profession, I'm going to sort of turn the table and talk about the customer, the client, right? Mm-hmm. They have really demanded being sold to in a certain way. They don't want to be inconvenienced. They want to do it quickly. If they can do it on a computer with a click of a mouse, they want to do it that way. So really this evolution of inside sales into digital sales has really supported the client, supported the customer in how they want to be sold to. Respond immediately. Give me quick, meaningful information. Hey, let's do it over a phone call or email or text or video,
yeah.
Right? And so this whole way of doing business with clients and customers has really helped revolutionize what we knew way back when as phone sales, inside sales. Now it's like, how quickly can I get what I want, research what I want? Today's decision makers that are spending hundreds and millions, hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, they go home at night and they fire up Amazon and they find what they want, they order it, it's on their doorstep the next day.
Yeah.
They want that same level of interaction, support, immediacy today in their business as they do with, say, an Amazon.
Yep. So what would you consider the biggest challenges that the inside sales leaders are facing today?
Well, the AA-ISP researches this every year. We call it the Top Challenges and Trends Report.
Yep.
And every year there's 3 or 4 big challenges that come back to us every year. And it is training and development. It is technologies up there. It is hiring and recruiting. That's a big one. And then interestingly, this quality of lead has surfaced as a top challenge. I'll talk about that in just a minute, but these three are the big ones, especially hiring and recruiting. Here's why. We are exploding at the seams. Our profession, 80% of the companies we talk to are hiring incremental additional headcount each year. So we have a big demand. Everybody is doing inside sales. Everybody's doing business development. Our supply is getting tough. Big demand, tough supply. Hiring is a challenge.
3.8% unemployment in the United States makes it kind of a job seeker's market, which is great, but it makes it a challenge for us leaders. And then once you find them, you can't just put them on the phones or email and say, go do it. You got to develop their talents.
And because of the supply and demand issue, our industry is going downstream. We're hiring much less experienced salespeople, some with no experience, some right out of college. And yes, there's some colleges that are actually training students in the sales profession. Good job out there.
Kennesaw State here locally.
Kennesaw State, and we work with the University of Houston and Dallas and Texas and NIU. But imagine hiring someone right out of college that maybe has never sold before, maybe has taken some sales classes. Boy, training becomes a big challenge.
Yeah, I agree. So earlier you talked about some of the biggest changes you've seen in the last 10 years isn't necessarily from the desk point of view, it's from the buyer point of view. Right. Tell me more about the journey that has evolved and what changes they've made. And you might be repeating some of the stuff you've already said, but add some more if you can.
Well, I'll kind of turn the table back around a little bit, talk about the profession of inside sales, right? The journey, number one, has been amazing. And I know I'm going to talk to some of your salespeople here after this video right here at Market Source in Atlanta. And I'm going to tell them that they're in the best profession on the planet right now. We're growing. The technology has enabled so much. We can do live video at the click of a mouse like that. So the journey for this profession has been life-changing in many cases, has been exciting. You're able to sell lots of stuff. Quotas are going up. More responsibility is given to, the person that used to be on the phone selling. Now it's digital sales. It encompasses everything. And even hybrid selling, primarily inside. And I know even Market Source, your own reps, you have some that are hybrid that can travel if they need to.
That's right.
So it's this profession is the best of all worlds. And the pay's on the increase, right? Compensation is moving upward. So it's a great place to be. So what a journey, and into the future, right? Maybe we'll talk about artificial intelligence in a minute.
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
So a few weeks ago, there was a hot debate, and Market Source's own Jason McElhone was in the middle of it with Gabe Larson from InsideSales.com and Mario Martinez, and was the whole cold calling versus social sales. Should you be making $100 a day and all these attempts, or should you only reach out to people digitally? And it was a fun debate to watch. But what's your take on it? In your opinion, what is the best way to connect with potential clients?
The answer to everything you said is simply yes. Should I make lots of calls? Yes. Should I be on social? Yes. Right? So as much as you saw two sides to that debate, the answer is really simple. There's lots of different ways to connect to people, right? There's lots of means to communicate. You can text. Today, texting's on the rise. Yep. Video, right? If you're not using video today, you don't know what you're missing. So it's not all of one or all the other. It really isn't. It's how you are able to best get through and communicate and develop a relationship with your customer. Some like to do it texting, right? Others like to talk a lot on the phone. Some like video. So use it all, use it wisely, but there's no one way is the right way here, I don't think.
There's no one channel that's going to increase your contact rates. You have to use all the channels because you're going to be reaching out in the way the buyer prefers, and that's how they're going to respond.
Absolutely. One way may be better for a certain customer, a certain client, industry, right? Yeah. That's fine. But, try them all, use them all.
Yeah, I agree. Let's talk about, you just talked about a bunch of multi-channel methods.
Yeah.
to increase contact rates, have more conversations. But what are the sales fundamentals? Even with all that great sales enablement technology out there, what are the fundamentals that are still in play today?
Well, that's a really good question. And let me preface this by saying I believe technology has come on so quickly and is so enabling that we maybe have gotten away from some of the fundamentals. In other words, auto dialers, right?
Yeah.
Sequencers, just quantity, quantity, quantity. Well, in that play, right, I think the pendulum swung a little bit too far this way, and we lost what I call the human to human connection, the personalization. So a fundamental, if you're watching this today and you're in sales, don't let personalization diminish. Increase it. How do you do that? You get to know someone. I can go to your LinkedIn, Ben, learn about you. I can learn that you have a School of Rock business on the side, that you're a drummer, and we can talk about that person to person, human to human. Don't lose that. We are still, with marketing automation, with sales automation, sales acceleration, we're losing this personalization, and we can't. We got to put it back into the sales approach, because after all, people are still buying from people they trust, they like, they know.
Yeah, good. So, all right, so what is coming up in the next 3 to 5 years? We've seen multi-channel come into play. You still have to have the human-to-human interaction and touch.
Yeah.
And then how does that evolve for the next 3 to 5 years if you're an inside seller listening to this?
Well, look, we're going to continue to just grow and expand as a profession. It's really exciting times. I'm going to talk about AI, right? Artificial intelligence.
Yep.
We just had the first ever AI for Sales event in Chicago a couple of months ago, and there is some amazing stuff coming down the pike with AI. But again, I'm going to warn you. In fact, we had a lady, Kate Turchin, who sang a song about AI. She said, there's something that no algorithm can replace that's called the human-to-human touch, right? So even with AI coming on strong, don't leave the human aspect out of it, but it is going to fundamentally change a lot of the things we're doing. People say, oh, we're going to be replaced by robots, and my answer is partly, yes, you will be. But just like the computers the personal computers in the 1980s, everybody thought our jobs are going away, computers are going to do it. What happened? A whole new industry was born. Hundreds and thousands, millions of jobs were created. The same thing's going to happen with AI. It's going to help. It's going to take away some of the menial tasks that we do. It's going to allow salespeople to sell more often, and to sell, more. Make more quota.
Yeah, good. And be more efficient in their role,
Yeah.
AI can impact lead scoring, hopefully in the future.
Yep.
It can impact the automated accounts on who to call and when to call and help you be more predictive in that versus just kind of guessing. And I think it'll make the sales jobs, sales reps' job even easier.
It will.
AA-ISP, it's grown tremendously in the last 10 years. I've gone to the leadership conference now the last 4 years in a row. We're going to Unite next week. What can members expect to see in the future of AA-ISP?
Great question. And, like the profession of inside sales, the AA-ISP, the association, has exploded as well.
Yeah.
We're all around the world, 75 chapters, and we grew really fast as well. And sometimes I think maybe we grew so fast that we put so much in front of the members, right? So often in front of the members. So I think you're going to see a little more specialization coming out of the AISP. For example, this year coming up, we added an AI for Sales event, just artificial intelligence.
Yep.
That's all we talk about at this conference. We're adding a second executive retreat this year. Wow. We added a group for large enterprise companies. So we're even doing some industry specialization, like in healthcare, things like that. Subgroups are talking. So at our event, some of you have been to many of the conferences, we're going to have more specific practitioner-led sessions and general sessions. So I think you're going to see us focus in on some things. So if a leader out there wants to learn about AI, they can go to that event. If they want to learn about hiring and recruiting, they can go to a session just on that.
Yeah. How about we start a band? You're going to play the guitar, I'll play drums, we'll find some vocalists and keyboards, and we'll get some live music going at these events.
The AA-ISP band, Larry Reeves, who's our CEO, plays bass. He'd love to play.
Perfect.
So guitar, bass, drums. Who was that back in the day? Who's the band that played just had a drum, a bass, and a guitar?
We got Rush.
Bad Company.
Oh, Bad Company.
Bad Company. Yeah. So we'll call this Good Company, I guess.
All right, last question for you. I think AAISP has really grown. Here in the Atlanta market, our chapter is revitalized, and it's also grown very quickly. Our first few meetings have been very successful. So you do have an influx of new members always coming in.
Yeah.
What is the best way for members to take advantage of AAISP?
Well, you said it, Ben, and by the way, thanks for taking over as chapter president of Atlanta.
Yeah, thanks
so
for having me.
we're gonna kind of relaunch, put some new life into that. That's number one. Get involved in a local chapter because you're going to be with like-minded, passionate people that make a living through inside or digital sales. So most of the large cities in the U.S. and even around the world have chapters. Get out, participate. Doesn't cost you anything, just a little bit of your time. So that's number one. Number two, give back to the community. We have a mentor program at the AISP, and we have a long list of proteges waiting for a mentor, right? So if you're somebody with experience, a leader, get out to the website, sign up for a mentor. We'll get you approved, and we'll try to connect you with a protege. And then finally, there's nothing like getting out to a conference. I know you've been to the Leadership Summit, and you gotta, if you're a leader of any kind of inside sales role, you owe it to yourself to get out of your own four walls. Even if you can't come to a conference or a chapter meeting, go visit another member company and do a little benchmarking. See how they run inside sales. Learn, right? Ask questions. It's all about this profession, our inside sales roles, continuing to get better, to improve, and to learn, and to share with others.
Great. Well, on behalf of the members and the community and the profession, thank you for everything that you've done. We truly appreciate you bringing us together, and congratulations on 10 years, and I wish for 10 or many more.
Ben, thanks so much, and appreciate everybody watching this.
All right. Thanks, Bob.